getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
coming down.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the iFormula F3 League Round 5 live from Magny Cours. I am JPB Parfitt. I'm going to be here in the booth with Kelsey. Gill is going to be joining me this afternoon for some epic race action. We've got a 28-lap race 1 with one fast repair there as well. 7 laps for race 2 with a top 12 inverted as well. So pay attention for that one. Current scores on the doors are top 14. Alex Johnson out in front on 160 with Lee Aberdeen on 121. Then you got Tycho Krigsman on 95. Jake Potts on 94 with Andre Zalanda on 87. Kevin Vermont on 77. Rachel Jimenez on 75 and Darius Rakakaskas in 8th place on 71. Frederick Højgaard Larsen on 69, Roman Ratu on 67. Then you got Vakaris Villius on also here on 62. Marian Barbero on 61 with Kevin Zwemstra on 61. Then the top 14 is rounded out by Victor Solano here as well on 55 points. Are we ready for some epic action here from Magny Cours? Well, let's bring Kelsey Gill out as we're just coming towards the end of qualifying. Kelsey, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, James. Hello, everybody in the chat as well. It's yeah, we're at Magny Cours. It's a twist, well, not twisty, but it's a long track. It's got long straights with a lot of opportunities for overtaking, and there's chances as well for the drivers to really get some good side-by-side action in. And there's a few technical elements of the circuit as well, with that little bit of a janky chicane at the end of the track as well. But it's a good little track in France is all I was saying. It should provide some good racing.
Yeah, here is the grid for race 1. Lee Aberdeen out in front with Alexander Rivera in second. Tommy Pastero in third. Mackenzie Roon in fourth. Alex Johnson in fifth. Marian Barbero in sixth. Kevin Zwemstra seventh. Jake Potts in eighth. Eric Leroy in ninth. Victor Solano in 10th. Thomas Siros in 11th with Andre Zalanda down in 12th place. Then you got Rachel Jimenez 13th. Then you got Julie Vinicius in 14th, Andy Miller 15th, Clore in 16th, Carlos Navarro 17th, Kevin Vermont 18th, Roman Ratu in 19th, and Vakaris Villius in 20th place. 20 cars on track today, and they're going to be led away by this man, by the Australian, by Lee Aberdeen in that Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing race car. They're looking very menacing on the grid indeed. Good afternoon to you, Ria. I hope you are well, enjoying your Sunday here once more on the JPB YouTube channel. It should be an exciting one. It should be an interesting one. It is Magny Cours. Now, we were talking beforehand as well. Not my most favourite track, but, you know, it is what it is. It's on the calendar. We've got to kind of just get on with it and bring some great racing, and I am expecting some great racing here today as well. We're just waiting for Victor Solano to get on to the grid, ready to go, and then we'll be up and running for race 1 here as well. So welcome in, thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on the bells. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be exciting. The lights are coming on once more here. We are going to be up and running. We are going to be ready. The lights are off. We are green, 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 and it is Lee Aberdeen who got away at the start with Thomas Patero in second, closely followed by Mackenzie Roon in third, who's having a battle with Alex Johnson, who's just gone past Mackenzie Roon here as well. Eric Leroy off the side of the circuit already. He's down 11 places, but at the moment it is Lee Aberdeen out in front here once more, doing an absolutely stellar job and got the jump that he needed there, Kelsey. He had to get away right at the beginning, he did do. Tommy Patero's not giving him any chance though as it come down for the first time into Adelaide, and Tommy's got Alex Johnson on the inside. Johnson's going to wheel bang. They have wheel banged. It is all gone wrong for Victor Solano at the back of the track as well. There is Marion Barbaro. There is Jake Potts. He is off the side of the circuit. Carlos Navarro there as well. Bit of a chaotic time at the back here, but Lee Aberdeen's got away out front.
Yeah, a little bit shaky toward the back. It was quite the start for Johnson as well. He's got himself up into P2 already, just what he needed to do really, as he was down in 6 at the start. You saw at the beginning as well, bit of a stall or slow start from Rivera there, and you saw a few cars trying to avoid the car, just still sat there going slowly on the grid as well. Lucky to all managed to find their way past that car there, but Aberdeen's got Johnson already putting the pressure on him now, so this should be a good fight as we continue on.
Yeah, we definitely do. We can have a look back and see what happened to Jake Potts here at the beginning as well. Jake Potts unfortunately went off the side of the circuit, and he was closely followed by Victor Solano and Marion Barbaro. This is going down into Adelaide. Here he comes now. There was contact there as well. Potts goes up in the air. Barbaro gets involved in that one as well. The two teammates of Barbaro and Solano having a slight little contact from that Knox E-Motorsport team as well, and unfortunately for them, they are going to have to now struggle. Barbaro's in the pits, Miller's in the pits, and Jake Potts is in the pits there as well. Kelsey, it all got a little bit scrappy down the front, but in this midfield with Alex Rivera and Rachel Jimenez having a nice little side-by-side battle from Loomis E-Motorsports and Knox E-Motorsports. Rivera goes through down into Adelaide. Job done for Rivera.
Yeah, job done for Rivera on a recovery after that poor start from P2 on the grid at the moment. Jimenez doing well in the top 10 at the moment. We saw her start to walk, I think it was pole around Belgium before that chaotic crash that we had last week, which we will hope that we don't have a repeat of at the moment. But I was looking at the penalties before the race began, and the likes of Vimon, Ratu and Villiers did sit out on qualifying after getting enough points to warrant such a ban out there. But that's all of last week's penalties caught up for those who didn't already know. But it's starting fresh again, once more charging toward with the championship as well. And we've got Johnson and Aberdeen still fighting. Patero's keeping within as well. They're all keeping fairly close to one another around the track, which will promote it at the moment as we watch Potts battle away with Miller there.
Yeah, Barbaro behind him, of course. Potts, Barbaro and Miller are going to be having this little freeway. They have gone into the pits already. What about Alex Johnson? He's got Tommy Patero right behind him here once more, and it was a little bit there was only one thing to say about last week, and that just was chaos. It was chaos into Lacombe, I believe there was, and it was just an incident, and it just went absolutely mental. There was cars flying around all over the place. Not so much here though, as well, as Thomas Siros and Alexander Rivera are running side by side currently as they're heading down now through turn 6 and then coming into that right-hander and the left-hander of 7 and of 8, and it is Rivera still managing to survive from Siros here, Kelsey, but he's up against it. Siros is not too far away, and neither is Rachel Jimenez behind that.
No, and it's just a almighty scrap
off
in the middle. Someone's off. Patero, no! What happened here? Let's have a look. Just coming through this little section now, off the track just a little bit, watching through, just chasing, putting the pressure on the car ahead, and just loses it through the middle of the corner. Oh, that's huge calamity.
Patero there as well, down 7 positions. He was in 3rd, chasing down Alex Johnson, and now he's got Kevin Veermont running side by side with him on that run down into turn 15. The 3rd to last corner on the track, as they're going to have to go right and left once more. And Patero now trying to get away from Veermont at the moment. This should be interesting. Jimenez has got Zalander for company from the Alcantech NHR by MW Race Consulting. They're right behind her as they're going off round turn 3. Zalander is an interesting one here as well, Kelsey, I think, for Zalander, because, you know, he's shown pace. We've seen how quick he can be. you know, and I think he was just a little bit unlucky at Spa. Didn't manage to make it into the top 3 in any of the races. You know, we had Johnson Aberdeen's Wempstra in race 1 and then Ratu Vermont and Aberdeen in race 2. And, you know, Zalander has got to fight his way through. You know, the man from Sweden has got to try and battle his way through. Roman Ratu has just cleared Jimenez as well. So Jimenez is kind of under the pressure from Ratu here. Very, very close at the moment. So it's going to be a tough one for Jimenez as well. So it's going to be an interesting one here. Lap 4 of 28, you know, and they're heading down into the turn 14 currently at the moment.
Yeah, we watched lap after lap as Solander fought with the Noxie Motorsport cars, the two of them, just giving him a run for his money. It was, you know, it was a... Well, it was all four cars, all the cars in the top 6 were mostly made up of the Alcantech cars, but Solander just needs to be a bit more aggressive, really get his elbows out and really start fighting in amongst it and sort of cement his place as basically best of the rest. There's a big skip over the curb, those curbs being lethal, throwing these little F3 cars around.
And Solander's off.
And that's Solander, he's off.
He did go off the track. He hit that curb. Watch him hit that sausage curb. Get all out of shape. And round goes Zalander. Just as we was talking there, Kelsey, about the fact that he's got to get his elbows out. He's got to get battling. And he goes and puts it over the sausage curb in turn 16 here as well on lap 4. And unfortunately for Zalander, he's going to be having a bit of a struggle now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it sometimes, but too much can be quite detrimental to your efforts in motorsport, and we just saw an exact reason why too much can be a bit too detrimental, as he just give it a bit too much into that curb when he sent over, a bit reminiscent of something Charles Leclerc did around Imola not too long ago in Formula 1, and it was just the wrong thing to do, especially in these Formula 3 cars, which are just so small, and there's a lot less weight on these cars to be doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, their high downforce only kicks in with 4 tyres on the track. You know what I mean? You can't lift them up in the air and expect them to stay there. And Ratu now under pressure from Patero. Patero's going to be looking at the inside on that run down into turn 15 here as well. He tucks up right behind him. Now as here currently, can Patero get past Vermont? Ratu, sorry. He goes round 15. He's looking for the inside. He's got a slide on the front right. Can he hold it? He does manage to hold it. And unfortunately for Patero there, that one little slide cost him going through 15 and 16, and he's lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, he'll just need to sort of get his head back in the game there, really just concentrate and just keep an eye on Ratu, just watch, see if he makes any mistakes, goes wide anywhere as well. Perhaps look out for any sort of dodgy defensive moves perhaps into the late parts of the corners, but we won't talk about that too much at the moment. But just get your head down, Patero, recover that position.
Vermont's just about to make out the inside of Jimenez here into turn 5. Into Adelaide they go, and they're off one more. There's been a big old incident at the back here. Julia Vinicius. Oh, it looks like he's had a little bit of contact going around turn 8. He's got a little bit squirrely coming into 9 now. I've got a funny feeling he's going to meet some cars. There they are, all 3 of them together there for Julie, Vinicius, Solano and Villiers. Unfortunately, all come in contact. So the locals Auto Motorsport there as well, unfortunately, is now into the pits. One fast repair, don't forget as well, Ria there. I hope that answers your question, that they have got one fast repair to do, and Kevin Zwemster has got Mackenzie Roon closing him down.
Yeah, he does, fighting for that last spot on the podium for now. Just the gap is sitting around 0.7 of a second as well. It's similar to the gap between Aberdeen and Johnson up ahead as well. I must say Aberdeen is managing that gap very well at the moment, just keeping Johnson at an arm's length, but they're trading fastest laps at the moment. It's Johnson with the fastest lap of a 1 minute 30.3, and they're all fairly similar, all the top 4 drivers, all within about 0.3 of a second of each other in terms of fastest laps. But it's, you know, Aberdeen and Johnson leading the head of this train at the moment. But any mistakes, we'll see some fights coming in as well, and we know what fighting can do for drivers as we go side by side here. That's Potts trying to make some moves on Cleore and fight his way up through the field.
Yeah, Cleore there didn't have much of a response for Potts, unfortunately. for the locals auto sport team of Villiers and Julie Villiscus. They were together. They were both involved in that battle. So it's whether or not Villiers is going to have any form of damage here to try and get away from the lander. So this could be interesting. Potts and Cliore. Oh, he's pushed him off the side of the circuit. Potts is off. Potts is off. Oh,
Potts is not going to be too happy about that. He'll be shaking his fist in the cockpit. Let's have a look. Just runs out wide. Maybe doesn't see him in the mirrors there, but pushes him right off the track. Lucky it wasn't any more dangerous than that, but it was a bit of a dodgy one there.
Cliore looks like he has let Potts back through again after making contact, and Potts is now on his way. Carlos Navarro trying to clear Marion Barbaro, and he does not Barbaro, sorry, Victor Solano. No, it is Carlos Navarro has just been cleared by Marion Barbaro. Sorry, I'll get my teeth working in a minute. Roman Ratu has got Patero closing him down at a rapid rate of knots as well. Patero, you know, he's on a bit of a mission at the moment. He wants them places back that he did lose, unfortunately, due to, well, his own fault, unfortunately, putting too much pressure on the loud pedal, and around he went. So this could be an interesting one here from Ratu. It depends on how much he's going to be defending over Patero and whether or not Patero is going to get close to him.
Yeah, we've seen loads of flying fins in motorsport, and it looks like Patero's going to be another one to be added to the long list of names down with the likes of Mika Hakkinen and Kimi Räikkönen and such. But he's going to be chasing down Ratu. He's got to keep his head down, though, of course, and just look out for those mistakes and just close him in. Just start reeling him in. Maybe put the pressure on, scare him, get in the mirrors. Maybe do some dummy-ish moves into those heavy braking zones as well, just to try and maybe scare him off the track, force the mistake, and then find a way through and not make any mistakes himself in the process. If he saw just a little bit shaky on the exit of that last corner, but chasing down through these long straights.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Ratu and Rakeska's come together here as well last time at Spa. Unfortunately, it looks like Victor Solano and Jake Potts may have had a moment here as well. Are we going to see a car in front? There is Potts behind. Solano's going to put too many pedals. Yep, and in there goes Potts. He just manages to get round, but Solano, same thing that we've consistently seen. Too much pressure on that loud pedal, go round. He did the same thing as this man, Tommy Patero, and he has just gone round for Solano. So Solano has dropped all the way down to 18th place now for Victor Solano. They've got to learn. Can't put the power down too soon.
Yeah, almost identical to the other incident there, and well, other than the fact that they went a little bit wider off the circuit. But I think perhaps it's, you know, just that tight of an angle, getting the power down, doesn't really like it, maybe even touching the inside curb there with that front left wheel, just doesn't really like the power going down on these cars, and then it just sent the car round. It made the back unhappy and said, right, I'm going round now. There's no saving that one.
Now, unfortunately for Solano, it was game over. This is the closest battle. This is Kevin Viermont from Mika Esports. Oh, Patero's made a mistake. Patero's made a mistake round turn 14, and unfortunately lost that position to Viermont, and Viermont's gone through and said, well, thank you very much. If you're going to do that, I'm going to take that position away there, Kelsey. Bad mistake from Patero in turn 14. He just kind of almost looked like he did the same thing he did. Too much power through, and away he goes for him. So he's going to have to try and get on now as well. Carlos Navarro's got Jake Potts for company here, down in 15th and 16th. This is your closest battle. Lee Aberdeen is just running away with it out front at the moment here as well, Kelsey. He's opened up 1.1 seconds over Alex Johnson.
Yeah, he has. He's really controlled it well, I must say. He saw Johnson just sneak through from the start of the race, but he wasn't perturbed by that. He wasn't even thinking about it. He saw the empty track ahead of him. He said, I'm in the lead. I've got this race. I'm going to try and make this the best as possible. And he's done that at the moment. I won't speak too highly of him, but for now, there's still a long way to go in this race. But 1.2 seconds the gap now, and it's looking fairly set for Aberdeen at the moment, lest any mistakes were to creep in. But Johnson is still there, so he can't get too complacent with it. He can't get too comfortable at the moment unless he starts really eking out a lead at the moment.
Leroy there with Barbaro. Barbaro's just gone past Leroy. Potts has opened up nearly a second over Navarro already. He's got about 9.9 for Leroy himself. Of course, in turn one, lap one for Leroy. He went off the side of the circuit, and unfortunately for him, it has caused him a bit of a problem. So for Leroy, he's got to try and recover. He's got to try and get hold of Barbaro. He's got to try and make his way through. So let's see what happens here with Leroy and Barbaro. And it looks like Barbaro's got the pace on him, to be honest, that he's just pulling away here, and going to be tough for Leroy.
Yeah, it is. He's just got to try and close it in and get his head down. The Americans are nicely spread out today, rather than all being toward the lower end of the grid. But Leroy's he's got his work cut out. Perhaps got to try and just catch up to Barbaro. He's in a bit of no man's land really, because Potts is about 9 seconds behind, so he hasn't really got anybody for company.
Yeah, it gets a little bit lonely, and unfortunately these cars are starting to get spread out here. Miller is also closing down. Zalander was within that 1 second gap over Villiers. He hasn't quite made it work. Miller is now chasing down Navarro. Navarro seems to be sliding backwards more than going forwards. Miller's pulled out 3 temps, going round turn 1, turn 2, and out the exit of 3. And now we've got this run down into Adelaide of 5. We're going to go round turn 4. I'm not going to miss it, but it is labelled 4 for no reason I can fathom out here. And Miller's only 2 temps back. Is he going to be looking at making this move down into Adelaide? He has pulled chunks out of Navarro here, Kelsey, and I think it's not going to be long before Miller is through.
Yeah, not long at all. I think it was a bit too sharp of an angle to go through, but right in the diffuser is Miller on Navarro coming through this next section now. It gets a bit more twisty in this middle part of the circuit at the moment, looking at different lines here, going a little bit wider, and then opens it up into the inside now. Side by side they go through the next section. Is it done for the 333 car? It is.
Yeah, Miller goes through. He wrapped it up round Navarro. He got him done on the exit of 9, and he's all finished through. Now Miller is on his way. 7, 8 done. They're coming down into 10, 11, 12, 13 through 14 here as well. Navarro has not got that car right. You can see him slide coming out the exit of 14, and he's nearly lost a second here. And unfortunately for Gill Vinicius, it looks like he's may have made another mistake once more here for him. And Potts is looking up the inside. Gill Vinicius goes wide and allows Potts to go through. I'm not quite sure why it's flagged up that he's had an incident, unless something happens further down the road once more, and Potts manages to make it through. Staying with this just for a minute, because I've got a funny feeling something might be happening, but I can't quite tell you what at the moment. No, it just looks like they are through. All the cars starting to get spread out, Kelsey, now as well. There's a little bit gaps between every single person. Mackenzie Rune's in the pits, of course. They're going to go in and fill up the car to the end. But it's going to be tough now, because all of these cars are going to be spread out. Hopefully these pit stops might bring them back together. But you never can tell what the gaps we got on track here.
Yeah, there's a lot of open space around this track. There's a lot really to encourage such an event of the cars being quite spread out as well. You'd think, long straights and heavy braking zones would invite a lot of battling, a lot of slipstream effect, but really when you get sort of into it with all the corners and such as well, it's just when you start spreading those cars out, it gets a bit harder to close down those gaps again. And there's no DRS on these cars either to sort of assist with the overtaking, so you've just got to drive and drive and drive. There's nothing to really assist you to catching up the cars ahead. But we're hoping now with the pit stops coming in, it might close everything down. At the moment, here's Aberdeen. I think that's getting past the back marker at the moment, getting out of the way nicely. But it's that pit stop time now. The strategy will start coming into hand. Do you overcut? Do you undercut the drivers as well? Do you try and match what your competitors are doing? It's all these questions. The gap is 2.1 seconds now to Aberdeen. He's getting a much firmer hand on this race at the minute. and it's Ratu at the moment, your closest battle. He's chasing down Siros.
Yeah, he's chasing down Thomas Siros, both from the same team, both from that Mecca esports team as well. The Mecca reminds me of the bingo, if anybody remembers back in the UK. We did have a bingo. Do you remember the Mecca bingo? Mecca? Is it Mecca bingo?
I do. Mecca bingo, yes.
Yeah, Mecca bingo hall, where all me nans used to go down and play their bingo on various nights throughout the week, bless them. You know, and that man out there calling them out, 2 little ducks, 22. You know, and all that. So, I don't know what made me figure that. I'm sorry, Ratu there as well, and Siros from the Mecca team. Brought back memories of a bingo, or me nan coming home smelling of mothballs, bless her.
Just don't go calling it the Mecca bingo team on the offshores.
That'd be the worst one, wouldn't it? Where you get it completely wrong. I don't even know if they exist anymore, to be honest. Is there still a Mecca bingo? I'm going to Google that now, Kelsey, just to see if it still exists.
Yeah, I had the same thought, actually. I'd imagine it would. I mean, I don't see bingo really going out of fashion. There's plenty of pensioners out there with, the pensions out there to spend. So, you know, get it down on the bingos, go see some numbers calling out and such. I don't know. It's it's not my cup of tea, bingo.
There is. You can find your nearest Mecca bingo club online, everybody. My nearest one is 30 miles away from my house, so I definitely am not going to be travelling to play bingo down 30 miles, I can tell you that much. For Thomas Siros here from the Mecca team, obviously it's spelled M-E-C-C-A, the one we're talking about, but these guys are M-E-K-A here as well. But Roman Ratu having a chase after Siros. Siros goes in, clears Ratu. Ratu gets on his bike and away he goes. Vermont also from the Mecca team is going to go through once more as well. So Vermont up to 6th. Siros goes down in 7th. Jimenez is in here, and Rune is made a pit stop and is making his way back through all the cars that have just pitted. So lap 15, pit stops coming. It should be a great end to this race here, Kelsey.
Yeah, it was a lovely little dynamic camera shot just watching through that chicane there. I mean, we talk about it being a little bit of a downbeat on the track, but you know, those little flicks to the left, to the right and to the left make for quite good watching, I suppose, as you go through. Very reminiscent of that final chicane around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. It's and a challenging little one, to say the least. It's just a shame that the start line is just that too close to the exit of the corner. But yeah, still waiting for pit stops to really start shaking it up. It hasn't really shaken the order up so much at the moment. Navarro's still trying to catch back up the lowest positioned American driver at the moment. Potts is in the pits, just leaving, I believe, at the moment. But we're just waiting to see what sort of shake-ups happen.
Yeah, the only shake-up we've really had is Andy Miller. It looks like he may have done himself a cropper. That's on the exit of turn 8. Has he done the same thing coming round now here? He's whizzed through 7 and 8, goes through 9, and unfortunately round he goes. Julie Vinicius has also had another issue here. I don't want to focus too much on this young man's problems, but he is one man that is not getting hold of this track, and around he goes for Vinicius there once more. So unfortunately for him, Viamont and Ratu are in. It's now going to be what Villiers is going to be able to do, and is Thomas Siros going to be able to both take his teammates here, as he just undercutted both of them. Roman Ratu's on his way out, Kevin Viamont's on his way out here, and you're going to see on the left-hand side, you should see Thomas Siros coming into the top part of your shot. He has done that now, and he's chasing down Kevin Viamont on his pit exit. Viamont's just going to get up onto the line. Siros has got a massive overspeed. He's going to go through. Here's Thomas Siros, and that didn't quite work out Viamont's way there.
Yeah, that went perfectly for Siros at Siros at that moment, and it's a good little fight now we've got going on here. But cold tyres versus the warmer ones, but that inside line, it was just an easy little manoeuvre up the inside.
Yeah, Vermont there, unfortunately coming out of the pits, not quite up to speed, and Siros was flying full bore. What have you been doing, Mr. Patero? Don't tell me you have spun this up coming out of the pits. Please don't tell me that. What has Tommy Patero, not Vermont, I want Patero actually. What has Patero been up to? This is going round turn, I believe he's down in 15 at the moment. And, oh, he's done the same thing. Too much curb, but unfortunately for Botero, round he goes. Tommy Botero is having a race that basically, I'm sure, he's just going to want to forget here.
Yeah, he started so high up in the order, fighting in amongst the top guys there, and had just that moment where he made a mistake, sent him back down, and it's easy to get shaken. It's easy to get out of that mindset that you work yourself into for a race, and I think that's what we're seeing here with Botero. He's just making little errors that he probably shouldn't do, and it's just affecting his time out there on the circuit as well. And it's one thing to say, you know, get your head down and get back into it. It's another to actually go and do that out on the track as when you're working at the speeds that these guys are.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things they're going to have to look out for. And Villiers has just come out the pits and loses that position to Jimenez. So Jimenez is up into 10th currently, with Villiers in 11th, chased down by Zalander. And of course, unfortunately for Botero and Zalander, they both did the same thing. Too much curb coming around 15 and 16, which is that final chicane, or 16 and 17, sorry. And then they both went off. Aberdeen, Johnson and Zwemstra, your top three, all in the pits together. It's all going to be on Mackenzie Roon. I don't think he's going to make it. He's out at turn 14 on that run down into Lyde, which is turn 15 here as well. Complex Dulice, if you actually want to call it that, which I believe means something rather fancy that I cannot translate. I know lychee, isn't that water in French?
I'm not too sure. I'm not really all that versed in the French language.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Neither me or Kelsey know what it is called. So, yeah, there we go. Up and running once more. So Mackenzie Roon just passes Carlos Navarro, puts a lap on him there. And Veermont is still chasing down Cyros once more from these Mecca Esports guys here as well. So, good race going on at the moment.
It's a good race going on right now. Yeah, Roon into P2. What's happened to Aberdeen? Where has he gone? He's right down the bottom there. Is that an error?
Yes.
What's happened?
Coming out of the pits, Aberdeen.
Oh no.
Oh, Lee Aberdeen, and he was closely followed by this man, Zwemstra as well. And unfortunately, it looks like Zwemstra's made a bit of an issue, and that's how Mackenzie Roon has got back up into second place. He's just gone round there. Zwemstra and Aberdeen. Aberdeen's coming out the pit lane. I'm sure he's not going to be overly happy that I've showed that one. But unfortunately here, he just put too many beans. Too many beans. There we go. Lee Aberdeen. And he's going to get a penalty for an unsafe pit exit. So Lee Aberdeen has not done himself any favours.
I think there's a case to be made there that wasn't exactly his fault for the unsafe pit exit. I mean, yes, he did give it a bit too much and made a mistake, but in that moment you can't really control where the car goes. So I think the stewards might be a bit lenient on that, depending on what their mood is today. But we'll see. But that is absolute commiserations for the pair of them, for the team. They're both dropped all the way down. Aberdeen now last in the pack from first. That is the worst case scenario.
Well, to be honest with you, the stewards ain't going to have much of a choice on the unsafe pit exit. It will be under iRacing. So iRacing will determine that was an unsafe pit exit and whether or not he's got a penalty. Now, what has Zwemstra been up to here currently? Oh, he's just trying to get out of the way. I think he's in a damaged car there as Kevin Zwemstra, and not an ideal scenario for him. Veermont and Cyros. And so still battling away. These Mecca boys have kept the cars on track here. They've done a bit of a better job than the guys from Alcantech by NHR, of course. And now it looks like Mecca could do some nice little team points here currently as well, Kelsey, sorry. So it's going to be an interesting one, I think, for them, as Mecca are sitting. Where are you sitting? They're sitting down in 7th place in the team standings.
Yeah, this will be a good little run of points if they can keep it. They won't want to fight each other too much, or maybe they will. I mean, they've not got too many drivers around them, but with fighting comes the opportunity for drivers to catch up and also get involved in that fight. So there's fun, and then there's thinking of the team game at the moment, so they won't want to do that. And I've just been looking into Complex du Litchi, James, and Litchi is apparently a secondary school in France that is funded by the state, and is the last step of secondary school out in France, apparently.
So that'd be why it's called High School Complex then. Yes, when Google Translates told me that as well. Games and burgers, big oofs after the pit stops. Yeah, we're just about to see Veermont go past Syros there. Syros is not going to fight that much, and Veermont goes through. So great job for them on the entry into Adelaide. Veermont and the guys from Mecca did have a little swap of positions. Lee Aberdeen is still up and running. He's now chasing down Navarro. You can see Aberdeen here. Well, it's more of a recovery for Aberdeen now, isn't it? It's just about how far he can get up the field. He's sitting down in 19th. He's got Navarro right in front of him, and then he's got Cliore a further 20 seconds down the road for Aberdeen. So it's going to be a tough ask if he goes any further than about 18th at the moment.
Yeah, he's got about 8 or 9 laps to get himself back in as high as he possibly can. I think realistically he's probably looking at the likes of Miller at the most, depending on those gaps. I mean, it's a 21-second gap between Navarro and Cliore, getting close to the exit of getting close to the back of Navarro on the exit there. It's going to be a big ask though to get through, and I think he's having to get out of the way for
it's just been lapped
cars. Yeah, that is demoralizing.
Yeah, Lee Aberdeen has just been lapped by, I believe, that may have been Roman Ratu. It was Roman Ratu. Has just gone past Lee Aberdeen. He's just lapped him. So for Zalander, he's trying to get onto the back of Villiers as well. This man, these Nyman guys have had their own little incidents here. Zalander's had an incident. Aberdeen's had an incident. Swempstra's had an incident. And the only man from the Alcantech team who currently has not had an incident is this man up front, Alex Johnson. He's out in front here for the NHR by MW Race Consulting and has managed to keep it on track. Zalander, Aberdeen and Swempstra have all had their own little moments here for this Alcantech team. Not a good day for the Alcantech team, but they may take the win with Johnson out in front.
Yeah, they will, albeit being the other team of the two Alcantech teams out there, and Johnson just proving why he's leading this championship by the amount of points that he is. I think the gap is around 39 points to the next closest driver, so he's done an incredible job out there, has the Swedish driver. And for speaking of recovery drives, actually Rivera into third place, not quite up to second where they started the race, but back up into those podium places. That's a bit more of a feel-good story out there this afternoon for the 222 car, at least after a poor start. And that's Zwemstra getting his way past Cliore finally.
Yeah, Zwemstra's having a go over Miller. Aberdeen has passed Navarro. He's got a good few seconds before he gets on to Cliore. Zwemstra sweeps up the inside of turn 9. Job done for Kevin Zwemstra, the man from Holland, of course. If you've watched the F1, you will know that it was taken by the hometown driver. I won't tell you anymore, but you can figure out who that was here. And some questionable decisions, should we say, from the Red Bull team. Zalander's just about to try and put out the inside of Villiers into turn 5. He's going to bully Villiers out of that position. Villiers is not letting him have it easy here. Zalander's got to slip back inside again as they're coming through 7 and 8. Obviously, Zalander's got to be a little bit careful because we've seen people go round here. So Zalander's got to be nice and gentle on that throttle. He's got to feather it in. Now he can put the power down. Now he's going to be going after Villiers. Now he's got Villiers in his sights here, down into 12 and 13. Zalander's going to look up the inside. He fakes him a dummy. Through turn 13 he goes. Coming out the other side now, Villiers got a lot better run there, Kelsey. And he looked like he may have just managed to hold on to that position for a little bit longer.
Yeah, just about, but we saw a taste of what Zalander can actually do as far as getting his elbows out, and has been taking my advice and I'll have to send him a copy of my driver training manual to help him along his way. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a running joke between Zach and I about my driver training manual. There's pictures provided for the likes of Zach, who aren't so good at reading, but it's.
You wait till I see him after this as well. I'm going to tell him that you've turned around and said he can only read comics. You know what I mean? The young lad, he's probably still within that age bracket of reading comics as well. The rest of us are on full picture books with full words, and unfortunately our young Zach Sweeney, who works for JPB, is a wee little lad, bless him. So yeah, unfortunately for him, and currently Kelsey's giving him a load of grief. So there we go.
There we go. I mean, it's you know, it's all part and parcel when you're in the commentary box with the TSRC GT3 series. So it's you know, we like a bit of banter down there.
Yeah, well, there you go, guys, as well. And if you like some more racing, we have got some coming up. We got more F3s coming up for the IGP fun this afternoon. Well, that will be about 9:20 in the UK, so about 3 hours and 20 minutes. Now, after this one, we have got the Premier Endurance League launch. GT3s, 2 hours of solo driving for the GT3s, and that's kicking off from Catalonia. So if you want to watch that as well, Season 1, Round 1 does launch after this at 7:45 in the evening. So about an hour and 45 minutes time, we will have the live league launch of the Premier Endurance. 2 hours of solo driving, Kelsey. I could barely last 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been properly behind the wheel in racing conditions, and yeah, I don't think I could go for all that long either at the moment, not without any considerable practice over a bit more of an extended period of time. But you know, 2 hours is not much if you compare it to the likes of a 24-hour stint in a behind the wheel of a car. But then you've got, you know, about 3 or 4 different drivers hopping in at that point, haven't you? So it's you know, 2 hours for one person. Yeah, it's quite a long stint. It's I think that's the maximum a Formula One race can go. And if you're going around the likes of Singapore, then that's a real challenge, that one.
Well, they're going around Catalonia. That's bad enough, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Catalonia is not my favourite.
With or without the chicane?
Oh, without, I believe. With, I believe.
Oh, yeah, then no, thank you.
Hold on. I'm just double checking. I believe it's with. No, it is without. It's without. I had to check the track layout then as well. I had this all written down. It is without, but it's still Catalonia in GT3s. So, you know what I mean. Zelander's closing down on Villiers here, and Villiers is closing down on Jimenez. You've just seen Jimenez go to the left-hand side. There she is, the car number 67, being chased down by Villiers, being chased down by Zelander. And then they've got about a 7-second gap. Now, on behind there as well, I believe that is probably Carlos Navarro. It is Navarro, who is a back marker and has been lapped. We've got 3 laps remaining here before we go into the second race. Don't forget 7 laps here, top 12 invert. So at the moment, Jake Potts will be on pole, and that will work out quite nicely for Jake, because to be honest with you, I think Jake Potts deserves to be a little bit further up. He's done a great job. He's quick, and just unfortunately didn't do himself any favours with Cliore on lap 7.
Yeah, just got himself caught up in an incident he didn't really need to, and it just all spiraled down from there. And he'll have the sprint race to bring back some redemption. And someone's gone. Who's that?
That's Cliore. And just as we were talking about Potts and giving him a big up, and it looks like he's done himself again. Come on, Jake. Oh.
Too much. We've seen that too many times this afternoon. Just too much on the power on the exit of corners like that, and that's going to send you around. Looks like Leroy's had a bit of a moment as well, perhaps, going through, but it's all too common.
Yeah, I think Cliore's done the same, if I'm not mistaken.
Same through corners, it looks like.
7 and 8 on the entry into 9. He's gone right, he's gone left, coming round 9. There is Cliore. You're going to see it in a minute here from Villiers' perspective. There's Cliore there, just managing to get out the way. And unfortunately, you know, it's bad for him, but lucky for everybody else. Villiers has now dropped back from Jimenez by about a second. Zwemstra's closing down onto the back of Solano here, the Inten Get Good Sim Racing team. Solano has just made a mistake, gone in a little bit hot into 14. That's going to allow Zwemstra to come through. That one mistake from Potts, as we were just talking about pole position, has now gone and put him out of the pole position and into 13th. So Potts is going to have a bit of a mission.
Yeah, he is now. He's got to chase after Leroy just ahead of him and try and get himself back in. Otherwise, it's going to be, well, P13, not where he would want to start at all. So that'll be an interesting fight to keep an eye on as the laps continue to tick down. It's lap 26 of 28, I believe, right now. So we're carrying on at the moment. And it's Zwemstra chasing down Solund.
Yeah, Solano being chased down by Kevin Zwemstra, lap 27. The penultimate lap here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one turns out for all of these guys. Alex Johnson is, where is he? He's coming down into turn 5 on lap 27. These guys have not quite started that yet because obviously they're behind. So they're technically still on 26, so they are going to have one more to go here as these guys coming round turn 9 out through 10 and 11, and Zwemstra's trying to get back after his spin. Of course, he's on a little bit of a recovery as Kevin Zwemstra. He's been into the pit lane twice, once for mandatory and once for himself, unfortunately for Kevin Zwemstra. So for Zwemstra, yeah, damage limitations I think here at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and it's a shame it dropped it right after the pits and just didn't go throughout the moment, and it's just looking for a way through on Solano still. Solano covering that inside line. Zwemstra trying to find a way through. Deep goes Solano ahead, but keeps the position just because of that janky little chicane as we go down, and we got one more lap, I think, after this one. To keep going. Yes, lap 28. Here we go.
Yeah, Alex Johnson just passed the lap. It took the final lap of the race. So Zwemstra is managing to stay just in front of Johnson. However, if I was Zwemstra, I'd let him lap me and then I don't have to drive around again for the last lap. But that's just me. But when you're in a battle with Solano, you want to take that position away. So Zwemstra may want to try and stay in front of his teammate and go one more time. Of course, Alex Johnson's on the final lap. These guys are on lap 27, being that they've not quite got through to the final lap as of yet here. And Cliore looks like he's had another moment for Dominantas Cliore, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down into 19th. Is Zwemstra going to be able to get through? They're coming round turn 13 into the 14 now here as well, which is Chateau de or Castle on the Water, if you want to translate it into English. And I only know that not because of my French skills, Kelsey. It's just purely because chateau means castle.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the words I know. Translated in French, to be honest. It's like, I don't think I could put a full sentence together, although it would sound something weirdly along the lines of, hi, my name is Castle.
Yeah. Alex Johnson's come over the line. He's taken the win in race 1 for him. Mackenzie Room battle back into second. Rivera's going to take third. It looks like Patero may have had a moment. Has had Solano.
Oh!
All over the back of Kevin Zwemstra for Solano, and he has gone off track. So Solano's jumped straight back into the pit. So has Andy Miller. The final lap has not been nice to some of these guys. What's going to happen here with Villiers and Jimenez? Are they going to be able to make it? Is Jimenez going to make it through? She does, goes over the line there and completes that lap and takes that position. What about Andy Miller? He's just ran. He's onto the gravel. nowhere for him to go, unfortunately, for Andy Miller, and he's trying to fight that car to get it back on track. And unfortunately for Andy Miller, he's down in 16th place. Kevin Zwemstra will finish this off and come over the line in 14th, as Solano is in the pits. I am surprised the damage model there as well, right? Partly because he had an F3 car climbing on his back wing. But yet he still got his back wing. Now, I watched an MX-5 race the other day, and basically the guy reversed and lost his bumper, but apparently that still keeps your back wing in check, which I'm surprised about.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a hitbox issue there with the cars, but no damage, a rear ring still attached to the car seems a bit unrealistic there as the car mounts the back. But it's a good little race overall, and well done, Rachel Jimenez as well.
Yeah, Johnson takes the victory from Rune, from Mackenzie Rune, from Alexander Rivera. He comes over the line in third place. Roman Ratu in fourth, Kevin Viermont in fifth, Thomas Ciro sixth, Tommy Patero in seventh, Rachel Jimenez in eighth, Vacaris Villiers in ninth, Andrew Zelander in 10th, Marian Barbaro in 11th, Eric Leroy in 12th, Jake Potts 13th, Kevin Zwebstra in 14th, Victor Solano is in 15th place. Then you've got Andy Miller and Lee Aberdeen below that. I believe there was some more there as well, but I believe that was Julio Vinicius and also one other that was behind Vinicius there, and I believe it may have been Cliore. Yeah, not quite sure why they're not coming up on the standings, but there we go. Right, we are going into a brief little warm-up here as well, so thank you so much for sticking with us as we go into this 5 minutes warm-up. I hope everybody is having a fabulous Sunday. I know mine's been nicely chilled out. Work this morning, a bit of Warcraft painting, and then now we're going into 2 broadcasts back-to-back, so quite a busy evening, but a nice chilled out day, so I hope you all are fine. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That would be absolutely incredible. Race 2, short lap here, top 7 now as well. Now, the interesting thing about that is the fact that Eric Leroy is going to be on pole position. Jake Potts is going to kind of rue the day that he missed out on that one, because he's going to have 12 positions between Potts and obviously Leroy. So Leroy finished 1 place in front of him, but it's going to start 12 places in front of him coming into the second race.
Yeah, Potts won't be too happy about that. He'll be kicking himself that he missed out on that pole position. And we were corrected after the race last time to say it was Leroy. I think so. If we try and get it right for the sake of him, not moaning at us for getting his name wrong after being told, then it's on there. So, but he's on the front, looking good as well. Just everyone's going to get themselves back into race mode now, though. They've got the 5 minutes to just get themselves in the right place for a sprint race, which we'll hope not have as much lap 1 chaos as we did last week.
Yeah, it was actually Leroy, wasn't it? If I remember,
Yes.
I remember him sending us a message. Obviously, last time out, I believe that was our first broadcast doing the iFormula. So we did ask the drivers to message us if there was any issues with names, and Leroy there did message and say it is Luhroy. So the H must be silent. Which is the wonderful world of the English language, as we know with...
Isn't it just?
Yes. Where, and there, and there. Just to confuse anybody from a different country, you know? Why have one when we can just give them 3? Like winning the lottery. So, there we go. Yeah, now try teaching the English language to 5-year-olds. Not the most easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and then you got the Americans just adding random letters into words that don't need to be there.
Steady.
Even continuing on the confusion.
Well, yes, be steady. We got Ria here in YouTube chat. She's an American, and so be careful a little bit there, Kelsey. I don't want to be upsetting the regulars of Ria, and who comes and joins us. He's basically been involved for ages and comes and joins us every pretty much broadcast. So, be a little bit careful, Kels. But I understand what you're saying. So there we go. Right, so we're into the last 50 seconds of this warm-up. We have got Leroy and Zalander and Rivera out on track. Not really worried about their times. They are in warm-up. So there we go. 7 laps now. It's going to be tough for Johnson to try and come through the field, I think, on this one. To be honest with you, it's going to be Johnson to try and find the gaps.
It is. I mean, we saw at the beginning of that first race, though, the start we got was incredible. He's up to P3 after the first corner, and then it only took him 2 more to get up into P2. And then if it wasn't for the spin, he would have from Aberdeen, it would have been P2 at the end, but then P1 as well. So Johnson he's got some racing chops. He knows what he's doing out there. So I don't think coming through the field will be too difficult, but what it will be is interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be. End of quali now. Let's kick in and see where they all filter out as qualifying has, not qualifying, the warm-up has come to the end. The grid for race 2, Eric Leroy in first, Marian Barbaro second, Andre Zalander in third. That's turned out better for him than most people. Vacaris Villius in fourth, Rachel Jimenez in fifth, Tommy Patero in sixth, another man that's benefited on that one. Thomas Siros in seventh, Vermont in eighth, Ratu in ninth, Rivera in 10th, Rune in 11th, and Johnson down in 12th. Jake Potts 13th, Kevin Webster 14th, Victor Solano 15th, Andy Miller 16th, Lee Aberdeen down in 17th, Carlos Navarro, Dominantas Cleore and Julie Vinicius in 20th. And most people are on to the track. We can have a look round Eric Leroy's car. So there we go, as he's in that little F3 with that very bizarre air vent sticking out the side there currently, which you will see very, very shortly if we can get there before the lights come on. There it is, sticking out the side like a tube. Very nice air vent. But up and running, the lights are out, and we are green, green, green for race 2. 7 laps here of Magny Cours. Leroy out in front with Barbaro. Zalander is sitting in third as well. Villiers in fourth. Zalander's gone in deep. That's going to allow Villiers to slip underneath him. What about Patero? Patero is going to be trying to gain as many positions as possible after his race 1. Not an ideal race 1 for Patero. On that first run down into Adelaide they go. It looks like Mackenzie Rune's had an issue. Alex Johnson has jumped back straight into the pits. Oh, Leroy's gone in hot there as well. There's timing all over the place. What is going on? There's people left, right and centre. They all managed to make it through. Ratu, Potts, Solano and Miller. And unfortunately for Leroy, it's all done and dusted for him. He's dropped all the way down to the order. We've also had our race 1 winner into the pits. Mackenzie Rune and Alex Johnson are in the pits. What has happened here? Is it all down on Johnson? Rune's in that car in the middle. You can see, oh!
Ooh, again with the big contact for Johnson.
Straight up in the air went Johnson. Watch this on board. Up he goes, round he goes, and unfortunately for Johnson, game over. He's going to have to be back in the pits. Johnson and Leroy in the pits. Julie Vinicius looks like he's had an incident there, and unfortunately for him, it's all this same word category that we have here constantly. Chaos, chaos, chaos. Whoa!
Whoa.
Oh, that was Jake Potts and Lee Aberdeen.
Oh, not Lee Aberdeen as well. Oh, more calamity for him and for Jake Potts too. The two of them coming together, and I think Navarro's lucky to get away with just a little clip there as the rest navigate it as well. Oh, and he took someone with him and tried to avoid. I think that was Leroy.
Yeah, it was. Oh, chaos has commenced in race 2 once more. This needs to be cleaned up. You cannot be running it like this. Villiers is into the gravel. Where's he going? Nobody knows. He's off into the shadow realm. He has just joined an episode here and he's gone in the upside down. Unfortunately for Villiers, he's in a different planet. Solano now battling it out. He's just gone past Siros. What about Zalander and Webster? Well, they're still going from the Alcantech boys currently, but Ratu is giving Webster a load of pressure here, Kelsey. It's all got a little bit messy.
Yeah, it really has. And, well, this is what Zalander needs, though. He needs now to really show us he can get his elbows out and defend, and maybe even go up, challenge Vimont, and maybe go after Patero and Barbaroo up ahead as well. But absolute chaos going on the first lap of this sprint race, and I think it comes from a place of desperation, wanting to get up those places, wanting to make it up. Guys who are fast there, getting in the mix with the slower guys, or at least drivers who aren't used to being toward the front. It just all gets a bit messy. It gets a bit chaotic. You need to practice patience in a sprint race. I know it sounds counterintuitive. I know it sounds like I'm not knowing what I'm talking about, but being patient pays off, because if you're making mistakes and making contact, you're causing chaos for you, you're causing chaos for the cars around you, and ultimately you're just affecting the flow of the race, and you're not really having the best fun you can as Zwemstra gets in the slipstream, and that's an easy position for car number 25.
Yeah, Zwemstra up through Solander. He's just gone straight through there as well. Solano ran a little bit wide. That's allowed Rivera, and now Solano's going to be under pressure from Siros. What about Barbaroo up front? He's got his teammate Tommy Patero behind him. What's going to happen here? Are they going to swap places? Are they going to stay as they are? Well, time will tell for Solano from the third part of the Get Good Sim racing team battling down with Rivera, but Solander and Zwemstra now have got Ratu for company here, and then we've got a 2.5 second gap back to this man, Alex Rivera, who's under pressure from Solano, but it's all about Zalander now here with Ratu. What is Zalander going to be able to do? Can he stay in front of Ratu? Can Ratu get a hold of him? We've got Mecca and Alcantech and HR by MW Race Consulting. What's going to happen here, Kelsey? They haven't got long. They've only got 3 laps remaining here, so we've just gone on to lap 4. They've got 5, 6 and 7. Game done. It's all about pushing.
Yeah, pushing, put the pressure on, try and make the moves, but make them smart, be smart about it, study your opponent, make sure you're not being complacent as well, to let the driver behind you get involved as well. And it's the 3 of them just battling away for now. Barbaroo is keeping the gap to Patero at the moment. Doesn't look like it's shaking up all too much in amongst the top 3, but Solander really gotta get the hammer down. Just put your foot down. Go faster is one of my biggest pieces of advice.
Go faster. Love it. Go faster. How? I don't know. Just put your foot on the pedal. Don't you remember the old pole position game when you was a kid and you just pressed the right pedal and away you went at full speed constantly round every corner? Do that. Here, unfortunately, sim racing has developed since the old pole position game. I don't know if anybody remembers that, or I'm just talking the fact that I'm old and I can remember that far back, as there was a random wheel in the air there. That was quite bizarre. They're going through 7 and 8. Barbaroo is looking like he's a little bit smoother than the car in front, than Zalander. Barbaroo's getting it all settled in. He's getting it nestled in. You can see he's 0.36 at the moment for Ratu. He's got to have a go at Zalander now, currently on lap 4. Round 15 here as well, through 16 and 17. Over we go, over the bumps. Now it's that run down into the start line. Lap 5. He hasn't got long now for Ratu. He's got it. If he's going to make the move, he's got to make it soon.
Yeah, he's getting right up into those mirrors now, isn't he? And he's just putting the pressure on. He could have done with a better exit through that chicane onto the start-finish straight there. It's just a little bit shaky, and if you can get that right, I bet that feels amazing going through. But here we go, down towards Adelaide, getting into the slipstream, closing, covering off the inside at the moment. So it's the outside line, around they go side by side. They're going to be side by side as they emerge, but it's Ratu, the French driver, in the head of Solander.
Yeah, Zalander has lost that position to Ratu. Ratu did manage to get through into Adelaide. He was pushed onto the outside. He turned around and said, that doesn't make a difference to me. He is there. He is fine. He is flying. And now Ratu is looking to try and close down on Zwemstra. He's got 1.86 seconds. It is fast-paced. It is only 7 laps. Julie Vinicius trying to get onto the back of Miller. Miller's trying to get onto the back of Villiers. There's movements all the way through the field, and one of them is up front here with Patero and Barbaroo. What is Patero going to do? Is he going to make that move on Barbaroo as they're coming into lap 6?
It'll be a good haul of points for the pair of them if they don't switch, or if they do switch, no matter what. But it's a mistake, I think, for Barbaroo. That's going to invite Patero through. They're going to go side by side into this first corner, and it's going to be Patero, the Finnish driver, coming out into the lead now, and he'll be hoping to hold on to that, because Barbaroo, he's looked a little bit shaky in the lead of this race, and I think if Patero can just shake him off, he can get himself into the lead and stay there.
Well, let's see what Patero could do. He moves over to the right-hand side, coming down into Adelaide. Barbaroo is closing. The boys from Get Good here. The Landers mixed up in a battle. He is fighting it out. He is trying to get past Rivero. Not this time. Solano is trying to hang on from Siros here on lap 6. He's got lap 6. We are on the penultimate lap. Patero's opened up half a second now as well. And here, Rivera is trying to get away from the Swede. That is Zalander. He is battling away with Zalander. Zalander can't get past Rivera, which is great for Rivera. Not so good for Zalander here, Kelsey.
No, not so good. He's just shipping places again, isn't he? He's not got the gumption in that race car at the moment. He's not really fighting as hard as he could do, and he's just losing places as a result of that. Alex Johnson's in the chat cheering on Barbaroo, hoping that he can get himself back into the lead ahead of Patero, and it's going to be an interesting final few laps.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now they're on to the final lap of the race here, and now it's all about Patero. Where has Ratu gone? Oh, Barbaroo's had an incident. He's gone round in. Oh, he's hit the curb. Up he goes. Yeah. Round he goes onto the grass. Nope. No love lost, and unfortunately for Barbaroo on the final lap, or the entry to the final lap, he has dropped all the way down into 4th. Solano here with Siros, battling it out once more here, Kelsey. Final lap of the race, the leaders on their way round turn 5. Out of Adelaide they go, but it's all going to be what's happening here. Solano's on the inside. Is he going to be able to get through? Solano's trying to run the outside of Siros now. Siros blocks him off, takes that inside line on that run. It's all getting very close between these two, the Frenchman and the American. That is Solano and the Frenchman of Siros. Going to be an interesting last lap between these two.
Yeah, it's a good little scrap coming out of Adelaide, and they're still side by side coming through. I think that's turn 9. Oh, contact!
Oh,
gosh, that was close.
Yeah, Solano did pass Siros, but was it or not? Unaided here. Let's have a look back and see. Was it unaided? Slight little contact there. That's then Siros up in the air. It looks like he's just run a little bit wide, but it is going to be Tommy Patero. He's going to come over the line. He's got Kevin Vermont for company. Patero manages to hang on. Wemstra managed to hang on to 3rd place there. What about what's happening behind Rivera? Is he going to get Ratu? He doesn't. Rivera comes over the line and takes that position there as well. What an interesting sprint that was for the 7 laps.
Yeah, it was a 2/10 gap between Ratu and Rivera as they crossed the line. That was very close between them, and it's a similar gap between Vermont and Patero in the top 2 as well. But that was a crazy sprint race, almost as chaotic as we had in Spa, but just as much fun to commentate on.
Yeah, it definitely was. We're waiting for the results to come through. We are going to be waiting for the likes of Carlos Rivera, who's just gone over the line, and Cleore, who's just coming over the line here. Leroy has ended up back in the pits again. He's all the way down in 19th. Aberdeen's in 18th. And unfortunately for them guys, it's not been a good couple of races. The feature results are here. This is it. Patero takes the victory by 2 tenths over Vermont with Wemstra in 3rd. Ratu threw away it there by making a mistake on the exit of 16 and 17 on lap 6. Rivero takes 5th with Zalander not too far behind. Victor Solano 7th, Siros 8th, Villiers in 9th, Potts 10th, Miller 11th, Julie Vinicius in 12th, Jimenez in 13th, Mackenzie Room 14th, Carlos Navarro down in 15th. Then you've got Cleore and Barbaroo in 17th. Then you've got Aberdeen, Leroy and Johnson back from that one as well. It was a very interesting race here, Kelsey. I think that second race really kind of mixes people up, but they've got to be careful. And one man who has found out how careful he's got to be is your race 1 winner and your race 2 last place man. The winner in race 1, last in race 2, Alex Johnson. Alex, welcome in. How are you?
Well, to say I'm pissed is probably an understatement right now.
To say if we can not have that language, I will be most happy, please, young sir. Thank you very much.
Apologies.
No worries. I don't worry. I'm not telling you off. I'm just saying, please don't do that. It was an interesting beginning. We're just going to watch the beginning back from your perspective now. What was your take on it?
I mean, I was on the outside. Everything was good. Someone breaks way too late, and yeah, understeer, so breaks into me, and I just fly off the track, and my car is like a potato after that. So I think my front wheels were pointing to the moon or something. So
Pointed to the
not
moon.
much to do there. Yeah, those cambers were not meant to be on an F3 car.
No, we're just watching the end of it now. We can see you've run the curb in turn 1. You've got the 51, you've got the 23. The 51 comes over, unfortunately, and you went shooting up into the air. So that was contact with Mackenzie Roon. I think Roon, to his credit, was trying to avoid Roman Ratu, who was also going slow. So I do understand it, but unfortunately for Rooney, he kind of didn't have anywhere to go. But let's focus on race 1. Took the victory. You know, not a bad ending.
I mean, yeah, race 1 was, it should have been a P2. Like, Lee was so much quicker than me. He was just cruising, and I was giving it my absolute all, and he was still maintaining a gap easily. So that was his win, but obviously, yeah, mistakes happen, and yeah, that should have been his. But yeah, of course I'll take it. It's always good to get the win. It's good points, and looks like I still extended the championship lead somehow. Lee really had a terrible day, so yeah, gotta be happy about that. But yeah, awfully frustrated about race 2.
Yeah, I bet you are, young. So I'm sure the stewards will look at it and see what happens. But Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the team as always, and yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay, mate. Take care, Alex. Talk to you soon.
Yep, see you in a week.
All right, let's have a chat with Mackenzie Roon and see what his perspective of the start was. Mackenzie, tell us about it, because you got caught up in a little bit of an incident.
Yeah, so huge apology to Alex. I mean, time and time again you'll hear this, but I just didn't expect the checkup in front of me. And, I wasn't trying to be aggressive, but instead of collecting 2-3 cars in front, I moved left, and he just happened to be the car there. So, yeah, huge apology to Alex. I know that doesn't fix the race, but, I'll try to never do that again.
Yeah, it was really bizarre, actually, for both of you, because you both went out and took a podium in race 1, and then you both crashed out on lap 1 in turn 2 in the second race. You finished down in 14th. Alex managed the first and the last, which is impressive. But yeah, not a great race 2. It seems race 2 causes a little bit of an issue, especially after what we watched in Spa the other week.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes, just with the grid positions. But just live and learn. I'll try to be more careful in the future. And so yeah, Alex, sorry again if you're listening.
Well, Mackenzie, thank you so much for jumping in there, bud. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Hey, just my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mum, I'm on TV. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Mackenzie Roon's mum there as well. Thank you, Mackenzie, for joining us, and we'll look forward to chatting as the season goes on.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, now we can have a chat with Alexander Rivera. Finished 5th in race 2. Not bad. Was defending hard from the lander behind him. Alex, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. And I mean, I've had 2 pretty good race results, better than I was expecting, so I can't complain.
No, you're going to take that one, aren't you? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would as well, to be honest.
I was happy with it. I couldn't get much practice in starting this week, so my first real laps were the hour session right before qualifying, and Man, I was happy with the top 5, and to see how well I qualified and finished, I am more than happy with it.
Yeah, podium in race 1 and, of course, 5th in race 2 for you. So, you know, a nice little haul of points for you and a nice little race for you overall.
Oh, absolutely. I'll take it. If I can do this every weekend, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's what the plan is, and try and get some consistency, try and avoid some of the chaos that seems to happen in race 2, which is very bizarre. But it seems to happen in that sprint. So, you know, all in all, not a bad run for you, not a bad race, consistency. How are you going to do at the next one? It's going to be interesting.
I mean, starting off, hopefully I'll have more time with work and be able to get a bit more practice in. And hopefully I'll start with a little bit faster baseline. But otherwise, I think it's just all racing smart. I mean, we see it, especially in race 2. Everybody just comes out so aggressive because it's a short race, it's reverse grid. And everybody, I don't know, it seems like all common sense goes thrown out the window. So I think as long as you're smart with it, like Mackenzie was saying, as long as you're smart and can avoid the chaos, I think the good results will come.
Well, it's Monza.
Oh boy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. But Alex, good luck. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you. Shout out to the Knox boys. They've been great helping me, bringing me in, starting with the last season. So love continuing out with them. And yeah, thank you guys.
No worries, buddy. You take care. Have a good one. And we'll see how you get on at Monza on the... When is it? September 10th. Take care.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
All right, now we're going to bring in Tommy Botero, who had, probably from his standards, a race to forget in race 1. So we're not going to ask him about that, but we are going to talk about his victory in race 2. Tommy, welcome into the booth. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Nice to be here. I didn't expect to be here, but I was told to come here, and now I'm here.
Okay, well, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in. Look, I don't want to focus too much on race 1. It was rough. You spun. Yeah. Anyway, look.
Yeah, and then I got some damage.
Yeah.
And then it was just struggling.
Yeah, and then it was kind of...
the rest of the race.
Yeah, game over. Race 2, though, you moved yourself up through the position, started in 6th, finished in 1st. Tell us about that one. How did that go at the beginning? Because there was quite a lot of things happening at the beginning.
I was lucky on the first lap. But also it was a good decision to stay behind, I don't know, black and yellow car on my, well, right in front of me, while I had other car on my left side. I had more speed than each of them, but just couldn't move anywhere. It was a pocket. But it was an excellent choice to stay in that pocket because everyone else then went wide and I didn't have to force my way anywhere. And then I was already behind Marian, who made a mistake later. I got past him and then it was pretty smooth, except I didn't know how much fuel I need. So I just put a random number and then I had to save fuel for the last lap. And that's why it was 2 seconds slower. Still got the win.
Yeah, you definitely did. You still managed to wrap it up.
Yeah, but I did only very good laps on the last race. Well, this feature race.
Yeah, well, you managed to do well and you've managed to come back from your race 2 disappointments, Tommy. So well done to you, sir. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Alex, the same as Mackenzie. I had a contact on race 1 on lap 1 because I lost the rear. Maybe, yeah, it was lap 1. So sorry about that. It was lucky that we didn't get any damage or anything, but it was on me, buddy. Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, so there we go. Tommy, thanks so much for joining us there, bud, and good luck to in Monza on September 10th.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks.
Well, there you go. Kelsey, interesting one. You know, Mackenzie's come out and apologised. Alex was fuming. Clearly, we could clearly hear that in his voice. Tommy come out and apologised to Alex as well. So, you know, it was all... But hopefully that should settle down everybody now because the apologies have been done and we've seen some good racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst it could have been, I suppose. I mean, it's all in the moment, isn't it? All the emotions are high, all the adrenaline's sort of coming down, but I think everybody's able to sort of shake hands and say, hey, look, I made a mistake. It was an error. Let's move past it and let's go on. And I can understand Alex's frustrations, being taken out in race 2, both last week and this week, was probably not what he was expecting to come out with after this couple-week period. But we'll have a week in between now and the next session around Monza, so everything will be able to cool down and reset, and we'll be able to maybe iron out some kinks in the sprint race, and the stewards and those in charge of driver briefings can say, right, chaps, just calm it down, be patient, be aware that you are around slower drivers, and it's going to be a bit chaotic on those first few laps, and then hopefully we can see a little less chaos in those first few laps of a sprint race.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Auras who's just come in right at the end. Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much. Right, don't forget, guys, in basically about an hour's time, we do go live with the opening round of the Premier Endurance 2 hour of Catalonia. So single drivers in that one, so stay tuned and watch out for your notification. But for now, guys, from myself up here in the broadcast booth, I've been James Parfitt alongside Kelsey, Gill. Take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.